What if I were to tell you that as much as we are progressing as a society, we as a people are actually regressing in terms of our ability to connect with our own instincts and truly thrive as human beings? That's why, my friends, we are going deep. Welcome back, my amazing people, to Thrive Veda, your home for everything mind, body, spirit, so we can live our most inspirational and empowering lives. And I am back for another fun one. And this week is on the fact that while our society, in some ways, we can say is progressing, in many other ways, we are actually disabling our ability to truly thrive. And I'll give you 3 ways to make sure that that is very much not the case for you. We are failing to be able to actually communicate and understand our own bodies, which are constantly giving us signals on what is right for us. In fact, this scientific paradigm that has been accelerated in the last couple centuries is amazing in certain respects. It breaks up content into smaller boxes and really has us going deep on singular ideas, like a magnifying glass that is constantly zooming until we break apart the whole machine, so to speak, so much so that we lose the ability to understand the larger mechanism. As it has been said by such people as Paul Chek, to specialize so much into one thing that you end up being an expert of essentially nothing. And that is a paraphrase, but I think maybe you get the point. In fact, just as our science breaks things into little boxes, we too separate our head quite literally from our body, starting from our younger years, where we're taught to sit still in a very uncomfortable desk in these slotted positions. We are taught to simply live through our mind, and hence we actually cut ourselves off from the natural intelligence of the body. And this creates many issues in the long run, but most of all, it disables our ability to thrive. Because if we can hear our bodies, we know what the body needs. We begin to collect pieces of data, pieces of information that will astound us should the conscious mind ever realize just how many processes are actually going on in the body at the same time. Think about it. Just about every other animal knows what to do in almost any given situation. The human being, in many ways being the most complicated of those animals, still has an immense ability to do the same thing, potentially actually more. But when we are cut off from our natural intelligence, from our instincts and our intuition, we start to develop problems. At that point, it becomes very easy for someone outside of us to tell us that they have the answers for our body. And let me ask you, who do you think has better answers for the way your body should function than you? That's right, my friends. You are the best person to determine what you need. No doctor, no authoritarian figure, no one else can do that better for you. So simply, I am going to present you the tools to do that coming up very soon in this video. So let's get into it. Number 1, we want to eat intuitively, as in our body knows what we need. Now the question is, does it always know what we need? Well, the answer is a bit more complex because, yes, on one hand, it does, but on the other hand, we've been poisoned with so many processed foods which have been marketed and developed specifically to mess with your ability to actually understand what is happening in your own body. And in doing so, these foods are immensely addictive, hence why you'll find some sugar in just about every food on the market. That is why we must become familiar with the food we are putting in our system. And if we're not growing it ourselves, or if we do not have a personal relationship with those who are growing it, then we have to do the necessary research, our due diligence to understand what we are putting in our own bodies and those of our loved ones. Do not trust the system to do that for you, because the system, in a way, has been co-opted to produce massive monetary gains, which in itself is a self-propelling cycle in which the food, in many ways, becomes harder to not find addictive and also very cheap to produce in many cases. And hence you have essentially an extremely dangerous equation which you have to move around by either, once again, growing your own food, having a personal relationship with, let's say, a farmer nearby, or to do your own research and shop in places where you know they actually care about your health more than the bottom line. Once you cut out these artificial, processed, amazingly well-marketed foods, then you can start actually relying on your own body to tell you how to do the rest. This is an amazing step, because once you get this, you'll start to realize life is a lot more magical than you could have ever thought. And you are just as intelligent innately as that interesting creature that you see in the wild. Become a wild man or woman. Yeah. Number 2, move your body. That's right. Move your body, my friends. It's time for everybody to just move that body. You've heard the idea. If you don't use it, you will lose it. And yes, that means if you aren't moving your body, if you're doing what we've been kind of taught to do since we were kids, being in the head and then ignoring the body for the majority of the day, other than that maybe 30 to 45 minute physical education period, which I think they're been getting rid of actually in quite a few places, then you stop being connected to the brain of the body, the gut, and the heart. So if we aren't connected to the body, we are missing out on 2 other brains other than the brain in the head. The clump of sensory neurites in our heart, which actually function, if you see in my previous video, just like another brain that thinks, remembers, and feels on its own, as well as the gut. And you've heard a heartbreak as well as that gut-wrenching feeling. So once we begin to use the body through movement, etc., now we're moving energy through the whole system, and you will find yourself being much more intelligent on deeper levels and getting downloads of insight through your own cells, the way we were designed to be. Number 3, you know me, meditation. That is, in my opinion, the fix-all for a majority of issues. At least it was for me and many of the people out there. But if you implement just a few minutes of meditation a day, you'll start to familiarize yourself with your own body. You will hear when there's something off, when you have emotions that haven't been dealt with, when you have eaten something that maybe you shouldn't have, and you'll become best friends. You'll become the secretary of your own system, and hence you will not need to give away your own power to the corporations around you. You will not have to be plugged into a system that doesn't necessarily have your best interest in mind. Become an advocate for your own health, for your own body, by beginning to meditate. And I do have some awesome videos on that, as well as a great guided meditation I recorded recently down below that I will link for you. So give it a shot and tell me what you think. When we begin hearing our own body, we will now be living a much more whole or holistic lifestyle, and new doors will quickly begin to open as we evolve our existence, as we begin to progress in terms of our own understanding of life itself, because we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. We search outside for the answers, but I guarantee, stay silent long enough, hear your own body, you'll begin to develop all the answers on your own. When the body and the head work together, we become a much more powerful human being at bringing whatever is in our head into the world. In fact, to be a true, fully developed human, this is a must. If you have any questions, please do post them down below. Like the video if you found this interesting at all. Share it with your friends, because someone out there probably needs to hear it. And I hope that you found this massively helpful and entertaining. I will see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day, a beautiful week, and I can't wait to be back here with you again. Peace.